Doesn't it just look good? It just looks good. What's up, guys? It's a Wednesday, it's my off day, and I'm gonna get this wiring finished up. I know I've said that like 85 times, but I'm gonna do it. This is gonna be, even if whatever I don't get done today, if I don't, because I gotta kind of hurry up and get this done. It's kind of late in the afternoon already. I didn't have time Monday or Tuesday to edit a video, so I spent this morning editing a video for you. Lost some footage, had to go back out and re-record some stuff. Got in here, getting started. I gotta hurry up and get done so I can mow. It's the heat of the day, so I got a couple hours before I need to get to it. So this will be the last wiring video that I make as far as this engine harness is concerned. I know you guys are tired of seeing it, but there's like 10 of you that are all about it. So this one's for you guys. One thing I did do on the interior wiring with all these plugs, I went and got in our extra stuff that we set in the bed. I went ahead and took the dash lights and plugged them in so we knew what plug it went to. This one was the cargo lamp. Got it plugged in. Plugged in the HVAC stuff. That's the radio. That's the thing that clicks when you turn the blinkers on. And then that was about it. Whatever comes through the firewall hole, which would be... this will go this way, so don't mind that. Basically all this stuff is going to be inside the truck. The cruise engage signal is going to be a main one. Some of the stuff we're not using. Cruise engage, OBD2 port, check engine light output, and then some of the AC stuff. I also know that like the park neutral switch, I gotta re-go through that because these come from the trans plug, and I've got to find out where they go in this truck, which I'm pretty sure most of that stuff's gonna have to do with the brake switch and the shifter, the column shifter, whatever you want to call it. I just had a poo moment there. I know this is the bulkhead that plugs into the back of the steering column, and I'm pretty sure I'm chasing for a green wire for the neutral safety switch. That's probably what this is. I remember when James taped all this up, this was the only wire that was like in a weird spot. It didn't have much length, so we cut it, but we know that this goes to this, whatever it is. This would have been out to the computer, and I think we got rid of it from that side. So like, since all the stuff from the LS harness is going to be in the floorboard, kind of where that stuff is, I'm just going to run splices over here, and then like my neutral safety switch, I'm just going to tap it here. My cruise control, I'm going to tap it here, so it's all inside. That way I don't have to go back through the harness again and run a wire from way over here, which would be here, all the way, retape all this shit again and bring it all the way up. If all those leads are already going to be inside the cab here, I might as well just tap those couple wires and just run them over where they need to go, which it's only a couple. It's the I know it'll be the neutral safety switch, which is on the foot brake switch, and then the gear selector. That's one of the other neutral safeties. When you pull the shifter back, it puts it into neutral, basically, so you can change gears. That's one of these wires. I can't remember, because see, one's neutral safety output, and then the other one is a neutral safety switch park. So, and then this one's a backup light. So this one that one's a booger, because it comes out in the truck the way it's supposed to. It came out through the engine harness and went into this plug right here, and this plug goes under the body of the truck. This goes to the backup lights, and these are the ground and the activate for the fuel pump. So I've got to figure out if I'm going to run those over that way or not, which actually I know the I will ground this up here. I'm probably actually going to have to drag this through this harness because those activate is going to go into my new, I went ahead and went, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I'm going to go back over it if I didn't. I'm going to go with the 4 terminal, 4 pin, what the fuck did he call it? Anyway, 4 fuse wire setup. So what this is going to be, I got this from, I'll type a link to it in the description of this video. This dude covered the wiring very, very in depth, and he was one of the ones that I paid attention to the most. He's the one that I got most of my notes from. He got a lot of his info from Brandon at lt1swap.com. So that's another place to look. LT1Swap is where I got all my diagrams from on what I depinned out of the harness connectors, or the ECM connectors, and what I took out of the harness and all that. That's where I got that info from. This, it's you can do it too, like the letter U can do it, the number 2. But I'll put a link to it. He did this on his page, and I actually screenshot it and printed out. And yeah, I did it in black and white because I'm ghetto. But basically, if you're looking at the back side of this, like this is the back. This is where the wires will pin into it, and then the fuses will be here and the relays will be here and here. So we've got, remember how I said the injectors? So all the even injectors, well, these are the odd ones, so let's go with that. All the odd injectors, these 4 wires will turn into 1 wire. This coil wire will come over, so I'll only have 2 wires coming over through here. And then this is where they'll all come up to this block. And I'll show you where that's going to go here in a second. But anyways, all of our odd injectors are going to be into 1 wire, and all of our even injectors will be into 1 wire. And then the connector that plugs into this, I will make that 1 pin. So basically all the injectors will be 1 fuse. That'll be fuse number 3. I'm just going to copy the way You Can Do It did. The O2 sensors, both of those, the mass airflow sensor and something else, I took notes of it. I didn't get a screenshot of this one, but it copies him. So the O2 sensors, the MAF, and the check engine light, which I kind of got confused on that one. I don't know why that needs a switch hot, but it does. I think he ran it external, and I have a lead out of the wiring harness for that to be triggered from the PCM. So I don't know why he did that. I'm not going to do that. Maybe because he's doing it in a Jeep, so maybe he didn't have that and he already unpinned that and he's just doing it a different way. I'm not sure. And then, like I said, the even and odd injectors are 1 wire on fuse 3. Then the odd coil wire, the even coil wire, and then the 2 PCM leads, this 1, and then these are actually 1. I'll have to bring both of these over. Those all go on switch 2 or fuse 2, and then the OD2 port gets a constant, and then there's 2 yellow or orange leads, which are right here, and those are constant. How you know those are constant is because they're orange. So these are orange, that means they get constant voltage no matter what, and all the pinks get, they're only hot when the key's turned on. So, all those wires from these pinks will go into this bottom row, and then we'll activate that with a constant wire. Only 1 wire will go straight to the battery, and that's what will power this entire fuse block. So we'll run that up there. It'll turn on the main relay. Once that's activated, I'm not going to go through all this real deep because he goes through it in like a 30-minute video, and if you don't get it by the time he gets done understanding it, then you need to slow down and rewatch it until you get it, because he makes it make sense. But anyways, I'm going to copy what he did, and basically everything in this bad boy right here, when I get done copying this, I'm going to put it, our overflow tank goes right here on these bolts. So it's actually going to go right here, and all the wires will come out the back here, and they'll go straight down, and I'm going to make them run down through this holder, and this hole is where our harness goes into the firewall. So I'm going to have basically where I have this bent, This is gonna go straight up right here. It's gonna go straight up, come here and go to this. That way I have everything that controls the motor power wise, all the fuses for everything that turns on with the key or anything that needs power, and the fuel pump relay will all be right here in one spot. So if we have a problem with the motor not getting power where it needs for the computer, it's going to be right here, and we know that if we got a problem, we come to these fuses right here, and that's it. We don't have to go over here and fish, try to figure out what's what. No, we'll just go right here. Figure that'll be easier, and plus, like I said before, when we get those when we get the money to get those beauty panels from Vanata Fab, I'll link him too, because he makes cool shit for OBS's and C10s and all that. He has a sick C10, so check him out. But his panel covers all this, and then we can build another beauty panel. We'll probably get a cooler looking overflow tank, not that ugly thing, and just have faith, it'll look nicer later on. So other than that, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna time lapse while I'm doing all this. You guys are really good at noticing things, and if you see something you're not sure about, you ask a question, you leave a comment. So by all means do that. That's the only reason I'm gonna time lapse this, for the people that have questions about wiring. So without further ado, I'm gonna get all this soldered up and put together. I did need these O2 sensor plugs. I cut these off of our spare harness, and I'm looking at them and they're real dirty, and one of the pins, I forget where, the wires were nicked on it. I found those pigtails from ICT Billet for $14 a piece. Basically it's this right here, but brand new. Two of these, they were 14 a piece, so that's 30 bucks, and then I need new O2 sensors. So I ordered those two, were 50 a piece on Amazon, AC Delcos. So got those ordered. They'll be here this weekend. I'm not going to show soldering that together. It's just soldering this to this on one side and then on the other. So here we go, time lapse. Alright, so I'm done for the day. I hit that, oh, string got caught. I hit that little point in the evening where I am sick and tired of wiring. So, but I pushed through a lot today. I wanted to quit about 5 different times, so got her done. Let's talk about what I did. The harness is in the truck right now. Can you tell? I didn't touch any of this. I left that alone for now. I gotta tuck all that up later, but I'm pretty stoked, guys. So let's go off the passenger side. Well, let's just go where we come in. Okay, so we'll go over the ECU plugs and stuff later, but they're inside the cap. So we come across right here. This is our new fuse block, all pinned up. It's gonna go right here, like I said. So what we're actually gonna do is I'm gonna unbolt this. These are the plugs for 99 to 06 style. I think this is called a dryer. The old style only has one plug, so I got to figure that out, but for now I just put those up here so they're there. All I got to do is unbolt this bracket and move it out enough to slide this harness in. So this harness will actually be behind the dryer, so you won't see it. So all you'll see is the fuse block sticking up right there, which I think will be nice and clean. And then it continues over. I don't have the clips yet, but it'll sit up against the firewall at the inside this crack right here. So it'll be like that. We've got our passenger side injector and coil harness is good, and then it's got our leads for our AC compressor if we ever get to that. You can't really see it, but the O2 sensor wiring is dangling. I ordered those plugs, so I'll wait to cover those up when I get that done. We've got our crank position sensor and starter solenoid wire is in this. They're not tucked properly, but you get the idea. Moving on over, we've got our cam position sensor and our knock sensor and our map sensor. They'll all go. It's not this tight actually. When this is up like it's supposed to, it fits good, but I got one hand, so. The grounds will go on the bolt where they're supposed to, down here. Then we've got the driver's side injectors, coil plug. Our coolant temp sensor goes, if I'm not mistaken, it's this bigger hole. I'm pretty sure it's this bigger hole. I don't want it that close to the header, so what's going to happen is when the alternator bracket and all that is in here, I'm going to find a way to snake it through it and just have it as far over this way as I can and just clip in there. And if we have a problem with this and ever melt it, then I'll just put some of that heat foil insulation, whatever the hell you call it, shit on there. Our trans plug goes down, of course. It's been done for a long time. O2 sensor for the driver's side is going to go down right there. And then the only thing that comes this way is the mass airflow plug, and it will actually go up in all this rat's nest and go under all this bracketry and all that, and it'll come out right here, right at the intake whenever we get it. We don't have it yet, but I've snaked it in there one time to make sure it was long enough, and it does in fact fit. So the only other thing I didn't really talk about was the throttle body plugs, and this is the alternator lead. It goes to the alternator right here, which isn't here yet, obviously, but they come from under the intake manifold, so that'll keep you from seeing that. This is supposed to go on this nipple right here. But guys, I'm pretty stoked. This is what I wanted. Now mind you that these injector and coil plugs, they're not clipped in yet, and when they are, they'll be a lot lower down, kind of more like that, roughly. So I mean, everything will be below the fuel rails, and I'll get some nicer fuel rails later on when I can afford them, get some nice billet ones or something like that. But yeah, for now that's where we're at, and I'm pretty stoked with it. And I have the O2 sensor harnesses and sensors ordered. I'll get those soldered in. I'm not going to record that. Y'all are tired of seeing it. One big thing, the only things I had to tie into this side of the harness would be this has to go inside the cab. It's for the blower motor, but this went up to the 95, the OBS's original harness. This is the fuel pump activate wire and the ground for it, and the backup signal wire. I'm actually gonna, instead of having to tie that through that harness, see how clean this is because the mass airflow sensor is the only thing coming. I'm gonna actually run those up, and our TCC wire, which we need for the transmission. I'm actually gonna run those up, and there's a blank right here that somebody's already punched through, but I'm gonna do it right and get a grommet, and I'm gonna run all those things that I need to go in and tie in with the LS harness. I'm actually gonna run them inside the cab right there and bring them in, and then bring them, you know, up and over or somewhere, because we're gonna have a bunch of room in this dash, and then I can just make my splices right here and have it, you know, clean instead of running stuff back and forth through the other harness and having to retape everything. And then as far as leads go, these are gonna be for the ignition switch, the OBD2 port, which is going to be in the glove box up here somewhere, and then the ignition switch, and this will go to the fuel pump. So that gray wire I was talking about, when it pokes in, these two are going together. That'll be the activate for that. That way I don't have to do it in the engine bay, I can do it in here. So I think about covered it all for the wiring nerds. I did get this fan, the electric fan harness from Nelson Performance. It's super clean. I already set it in here. If you were doing stock location, that would be plug and play, and that's the way they made it, and that's the way it is. But for me, I'm actually going to be running stuff on this side. So our fan loop will, you know, come from here. Our battery is actually closer than it's supposed to be, so I'll run those straight to the battery. And then the grounds, I'll scratch a ground right here on the fender or something like that, and then tie into my computer leads that I need, the other ones down here, and get that all fixed up. And that'll be our fans. And then the relays, I'll get those mounted up right here, because remember the battery's right here in an OBS, so I'll have those relays mounted up in here somewhere as best I can. So that is it for wiring. That's it. I will not pester you guys with any more wiring unless it's something cool later on. But the next few updates you guys will see on the build will be focused on the interior. We're gonna try to get, I think this weekend, we've got some things to do other than work on the truck, but I think we're gonna start the morning out with trying to get the dash hung in there. So and get the tabs on the seats so we can get those babies mounted up in there. And then from there we'll move on to fuel, and then guys, that's gonna be about it. The interior is gonna take a while, but as far as making it run, we're real close. Once I get these last few little wiring things tucked away and get the fuel system straightened out, shit, boy, I think we're gonna be ready to start it up. So that's it for now. Thank you guys. I think, dude, is about to tip 1,200 subs. So thank you guys so much. That's went so fast. Keep running it up, because the faster y'all run it up and keep viewing the videos and the views go up, then the faster that I can start making a little bit of money off this and keep these projects going and put more money back into the channel, entertaining you guys, doing more cool stuff, more projects, more installs, showing you guys nice parts so you can decide if it's something you want or not, and stuff like that. So also the logos are almost done, our first logos, and I'm trying to get those hurried up and done and sent over to my printer so that we can get shirts and stuff going for you guys. So I already have the website. I just gotta wait until we get the merch and get product photos and all that, get that on there, and then I'm gonna get some shirts and hats and maybe some stickers and stuff like that out to you guys. So if there's any specific merch that you would be into that doesn't pertain to shirts, hats, and stickers, drop a comment of what you would like to see, and I'll see what I can do about that. Other than that, peace out. See you later, guys.